welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something really transformative, the rapid advancements in AI agents.
Yeah, it's moving incredibly fast.
We'll explore how these systems are moving beyond, simple interactions to become capable of observing, planning, and acting in the real world.
Right.
And kind of central to this evolution is something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. Absolutely key in making these agents reliable, especially for enterprise use.
That's exactly it. Think about it. We're shifting from AI that just reacts to AI that, anticipates and acts autonomously. It's a profound change. And understanding how we make these sophisticated systems dependable, safe, for widespread use, that's paramount.
So our guide for this exploration is a really interesting briefing from the AI Platforms Group at BCG. It really unpacks these developments, especially looking through the lens of this Model Context Protocol.
Yeah, it does a good job. The briefing lays out how AI agents have, evolved. It wasn't always these autonomous systems we're seeing emerge now.
Right, it started simpler.
Exactly. We started with very basic if this then that logic, the briefing calls them, agentic if statements, which is kind of neat. And then we moved into more structured workflow systems. But now the frontier is autonomous agents, agents that can think, act independently.
And even collaborate.
Yes, and even more complex multi-agent systems designed specifically for collaboration.
Okay, so what really defines these modern AI agents? It's clearly more than just like a chatbot answering a question, isn't it?
Oh, much more.
What are the core capabilities setting them apart?
Absolutely. Today's AI agents have this whole suite of impressive capabilities. They can observe their environment almost like using senses.
Okay.
Based on those observations, they formulate plans to achieve goals. Then, crucially, they act within that environment.
They can actually do things.
Right. And they can reason about the consequences, use various digital tools to help them, and communicate, both with humans and other AIs.
That's a huge leap. The briefing mentioned some early commercial uses. What did those look like? What impact did they have initially?
Well, we saw the emergence of what they termed vibe coders.
Vibe coder.
Yeah, basically AI assistants for software developers. They started streamlining the coding process.
Oh, okay.
We also had consumer agents helping people manage tasks, information. And in B2B, companies like Intercom started putting more intelligent agent-like features into, say, customer service platforms.
So these early examples, maybe less sophisticated than now, but they showed the potential.
Exactly. They highlighted the broad potential across different sectors.
And it sounds like building and deploying these is getting easier now. The briefing points to more platforms, more players.
The barriers are definitely lowering, yeah. We're seeing the big tech companies, OpenAI with assistants, Microsoft Copilot and Agent Space, Amazon Bedrock, all developing robust agent platforms.
Right.
But also newer players like Cloudflare, Pydantic. And then you have low-code platforms like Lindy, Dust.tt.
Right.
It means more people can build agents without deep coding skills.
But it's not just the platforms, right? The underlying tech, the expertise, that's advancing fast too.
Precisely. The whole ecosystem is maturing rapidly. We have powerful agentic frameworks coming out from places like Anthropic, Pydantic, LangChain, Hugging Face.
So the building blocks are getting better.
Yes. Developers get essential tools, architectural patterns, plus the AI engineering community itself is growing fast, sharing knowledge, developing best practices.
And the brains, the actual AI models, they're getting much better too, according to the briefing.
Absolutely. Performance on tough benchmarks like ARC, AGI is noticeably up. And interestingly, models specifically designed for reasoning often lead the pack.
Reasoning models.
Yeah, and it seems just giving models more compute time to think actually improves reasoning.
The briefing also mentions multimodality. What does that mean for AI agents?
So multimodality is the AI's ability to handle different kinds of information, not just text. Think voice, images, video. For agents, this opens up huge possibilities for interacting with the world and with us. Imagine an agent understanding voice commands, analyzing an image, then acting on that visual info.
We already see that with voice. And image generation is common now.
Exactly, and video is improving fast too.
And this progress isn't just happening in corporate labs, right? The briefing talks about open innovation.
That's a crucial point. Open source models are now hitting performance levels that matched top proprietary models like GPT-4 just, a year ago? And at the same time, the cost per token for these powerful models is dropping significantly.
Better performance, lower cost. That's a powerful combination.
Definitely accelerates innovation.
The briefing also notes a big shift in how agents operate, moving from fixed workflows to something more dynamic.
Yes. Early on, many agent-like things use prompt chaining, like a fixed set of instructions, step 1 feeds step 2, etc. good for predictable tasks. But now we're moving towards truly autonomous agents. You give them a high-level goal, they figure out the steps, decide actions, observe the results, learn, adjust.
Much more adaptable.
Exactly. They can handle complex, unpredictable situations much better.
Then there's the idea of multi-agent systems. The supply chain example in the briefing sounds fascinating. How does that work, and where does MCP fit in?
Right. Picture a team of specialized AI agents, one for demand forecasting, another for logistics, maybe one for suppliers.
Okay, like a human team.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
In a multi-agent system, they collaborate to manage the whole supply chain end to end. And MCP becomes essential here.
Oh, so.
It provides a standard way for these different agents to expose their data, their tools, so they can talk, share info, coordinate plans smoothly.
So we should think of them as a network, not isolated units. The briefing warns against a microservices mindset.
That's a really good point they make. Don't just treat each agent like a separate little microservice.
Why not?
You risk ending up with a fragmented system where they don't communicate or learn well together. The focus should be on a cohesive network collaborating fluidly, like a taut human team.
And MCP helps enable that collaboration.
Exactly. It's a key enabler for that kind of environment.
Shifting gears a bit, let's talk product market fit. The briefing mentions those early vibe coding companies seeing real traction.
Oh, absolutely. Companies like Cursor, Replit, focusing on AI coding tools, they saw incredibly rapid user growth. Huge ARR numbers, hundreds of thousands of users really fast.
So strong demand there.
Clearly shows a real value prop for AI help in software development.
But it's not just about tinkering anymore, is it? These coding agents need to mature for production use. What needs to happen?
Right. While they're useful for critical production systems, they need to be more reliable, more manageable.
Meaning?
The code needs to be well-structured, maintainable. They need smooth integration with existing dev workflows, version control, testing, and they need to meet enterprise standards for security, auth, data protection, all that serious stuff.
Makes sense. Looking ahead, what's the outlook for different agent types? The briefing outlines a few categories.
It suggests we'll see more assistive agents augmenting human experts in high-stakes fields, improving decisions, reducing errors.
Okay.
We'll also likely keep using rule-based agents as important safety guardrails in complex systems for predictability, control.
And the main driver.
Ultimately, the briefing thinks adaptive agents, those that learn and adjust dynamically, will drive broader enterprise adoption.
But it's not just future potential. The briefing gives examples of companies already getting value. Can you share some?
Sure. Bloomberg uses compliance agents for rigorous fact-checking, mitigating risk. Leads to faster, more confident decisions.
Interesting.
Booking.com, Jane Street, they use coding agents to automate things like code cleanup, review, frees up expensive developer time, shrinks dev cycles.
It's tangible.
Even BCG itself reports using hundreds of agents for client work, big cost savings, faster projects. And Brightwave's research agents analyze huge document sets, turning data into actionable insights quickly.
Those examples really hit home the value already being delivered. But reliability and effectiveness are crucial. The briefing addresses this too, right?
Absolutely. Reliability is paramount. And the benchmarks used to evaluate agents are changing.
How so?
They're evolving to better assess tool use, completing entire tasks end-to-end, handling edge cases, multi-step interactions. It's getting more sophisticated.
But there are still limitations, especially with complex tasks. The briefing points to some research.
Yes, studies like RRead, reports on citation issues in AI search,
Right.
they highlight ongoing challenges.
Right.
And there's an RX paper mentioned, suggesting current models still struggle with tasks taking human experts more than a few minutes, though it's improving fast.
Now fast.
The length of tasks AI can handle reliably seems to be roughly doubling every 7 months, which is pretty incredible progress.
That's encouraging, but yeah, still work to do for highly complex autonomous tasks. The briefing introduces BCG's agent assessment framework. Can you walk us through the dimensions?
Yeah, it's a useful framework. 6 dimensions. First, reasoning and planning, understanding info, logical inference, strategy. Then, task autonomy and execution, carrying out tasks, interacting with the environment. Third, memory and knowledge, retaining, using info, especially over time.
Got it.
Fourth, reliability and safety, consistency, accuracy, trustworthiness. Fifth, integration and interoperability, working with other systems, agents.
And the last one?
Social understanding, interpreting human intent, social cues.
Okay, 6 dimensions. And the briefing assesses maturity for each. Let's take reasoning and planning. Where does that stand?
Experts generally see it as medium to high maturity, especially for well-defined tasks.
But limitations exist.
Oh, yes. difficulty with complex multi-step reasoning, maintaining coherence over time, and hallucinations generating inaccurate stuff are still an issue.
What needs to improve?
Better multi-step reasoning, wider range of available actions, and agents just reasoning more effectively during decision-making.
What about task autonomy and execution, maturity level?
That's generally seen as low to medium right now.
And the hurdles.
Challenges executing actions reliably in complex, real-world scenarios, not just simulations. Lack of standard ways to integrate with external tools, APIs that restricts them, and true goal-seeking behavior is still early days.
So progress there needs.
Standardized, secure ways to access tools, and agents becoming genuinely more independent and adaptive in pursuing goals.
Okay, let's pivot to the Model Context Protocol, MCP. The briefing really emphasizes its growing importance. What exactly is MCP?
So MCP, initially from Anthropic, is basically an open source standard. It's designed to streamline how AI agents interact with their environment, their tools, data.
How does it work? What are the pieces?
It defines core components. MCP servers host resources and tools. Prompts are like reusable instruction templates. Resources expose data. Tools let agents act. Sampling requests handle the LLM interaction. Routes help servers find relevant resources.
And big names are adopting it.
Yes, the fact that OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, Amazon are all jumping on board signals a real shift towards standardizing how agents operate. It's gaining momentum fast.
Can you give a concrete example? Like, how would an agent use MCP?
Okay, imagine an agent needs to update a customer record in Salesforce.
Right.
Using MCP, it would first find the relevant Salesforce MCP server, maybe via an internal registry. Then it queries that server. What tools do you have? It finds an update customer record tool.
Okay.
The agent uses its reasoning to figure out, okay, I need this tool with this customer ID and this new info. Maybe asks a human for approval.
Optionally.
Optionally, yeah. Then the Salesforce MCP server, which is like a secure gateway, executes the update via the actual Salesforce API.
Got it. The briefing argues MCP helps with several agent limitations. Which dimensions from that framework does it boost?
It's particularly good for 4 of the 6. By helping agents chain tools and coordinate actions, it boosts task autonomy and execution. Its standard interfaces improve integration and interoperability massively. MCP servers exposing well-crafted prompts and tool lists aids reasoning and planning for tool use.
Makes sense.
And connecting to external knowledge sources like databases strengthens memory and knowledge. Social understanding, the last one, that's more inherent to the underlying language model itself.
The adoption rate by key players is pretty striking. Why is it taking off so quickly?
Several reasons. It's designed for AI, it's open source, fosters community, transparency, backed by Anthropic, a leader.
Credibility there.
Draws on successful ideas from things like the language server protocol in software dev. It has a good initial implementation, clear roadmap. And just seeing the developer support on GitHub, integration into frameworks, it shows real momentum.
The briefing contrasts the old way siloed agents with the MCP approach. What are the architectural advantages?
Well, traditionally, each agent integration was often custom-built, siloed, lots of duplicated effort, inconsistencies.
Yeah, sounds messy.
MCP allows a more unified approach. You create shared MCP servers as central access points for data, tools. All agents talk to these servers via the standard protocol.
So less redundant integration.
Way less. Faster experimentation, easier to upgrade underlying systems without breaking agents that use the MCP server.
But MCP isn't a magic bullet, right?
Yeah.
The briefing notes limitations.
Correct. It's not a universal fix. Its value depends on developers using it when building agents. The protocol itself doesn't make agents smarter.
Right.
And the ecosystem's usefulness depends on having MCP servers for lots of tools and data sources. Building and managing those secure tools still takes effort.
Architecturally, how should organizations think about MCP? The briefing compares siloed systems to an AI platform using MCP.
The big shift is moving from isolated AI apps to an integrated AI platform. MCP acts like the central nervous system, providing a standard way for agents to access shared resources via MCP servers. Instead of point-to-point connections everywhere, agents communicate via these shared servers. It simplifies architecture, boosts interoperability, reusability.
With all this connectivity and tool access, security must be a huge concern. What are the risks and best practices highlighted?
Huge concern, yes. MCP gives agents access to potentially sensitive data, powerful tools. So security first.
Meaning what, practically?
Treat all tool logic, all MCP servers as potentially untrusted. Enforce strong auth like OAuth, granular role-based access control, RBAC, for every interaction. Carefully manage tool versions. Isolate trust domains, limit blast radius if one server is compromised. Log agent reasoning traces for auditing, debugging, and thoroughly review. Ideally, build your own critical tools. Don't just trust community code blindly.
Beyond MCP, the briefing mentions agent-to-agent protocols like Google's A2A, IBM's ACP. How do they fit in?
They're complementary. MCP is about agent-to-environment interaction tools, data.
Right.
A2A, ACP are about agent-to-agent communication.
How agents talk to each other.
Exactly. Standards for how they coordinate, negotiate tasks, share internal states. MCP is the infrastructure to interact with the world. A2ACP are the rules for agents to collaborate amongst themselves, maybe even discovering other agents as resources.
Managing all these agents, MCP servers sounds like it needs new infrastructure. Agent orchestration platforms, MCP registries.
Definitely. Agent orchestration platforms handle the agent lifecycle. Dev, test, deploy, monitor, maintain. Think agent tops.
Okay.
An MCP registry is a central catalog of available, authorized MCP servers in an organization. Lets agents find resources, provides governance. Both are becoming critical for scaling agent capabilities securely and manageably.
For organizations wanting to build agents with MCP, what are the key takeaways from the briefing?
Number 1, evaluation-driven development. Build robust testing frameworks from the start.
Makes sense.
Strategically plan MCP servers to break down existing data silos. Build an agent orchestration platform and a private MCP registry for scale and governance. And crucially, review legal, security, privacy implications constantly as you expand that AI surface area.
It's good that MCP development is open, resources are available.
Yes, it's open source on GitHub, encourages contribution, transparency. Anthropic provides good documentation. SDKs are growing for Python, TypeScript, C#, making it easier to get started.
And the ecosystem of servers is already quite diverse.
It is, and growing fast. Servers for Salesforce, ServiceNow, desktop automation like Puppeteer, productivity tools like Slack, Google Drive, developer tools like GitHub, Sentry.
A mix of official and community ones.
Exactly. So maturity and security considerations can vary. Need to be aware of that.
Finally, the briefing offers emerging best practices for building with MCP and agents. Key recommendations.
Use structured frameworks. Design tools with precise, clear descriptions helps the agent reason. Limit the number of tools per interaction. Avoid cognitive overload for the agent. Continuously evaluate LLM outputs. Modularize your architecture. One MCP server per distinct system is often good practice. Secure all interactions with strong authauths.
Any other architectural tips?
Build lean, focused MCP servers. Use dynamic server discovery. Helps avoid extremes, either a giant monolith or tiny, unmanageable microservices. Find that balance.
This has been incredibly insightful, a real deep dive into AI agents and the role of MCP. It's clear things are changing fast.
Absolutely. The progress in capabilities, the growing applications, the push for reliability, it's remarkable. And MCP is looking like a fundamental piece for building scalable, interoperable agent systems.
Definitely. And as we wrap up, considering this accelerating pace,
Yeah.
it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What unforeseen applications, what transformations might emerge as these agents get woven deeper into our lives or work?
Yeah, and alongside that, what ethical considerations do we really need to be actively tackling right now before things get too far ahead?
A crucial question to leave our listeners with.